Hey guys, this is Hydra from Xtrades back with another video, and in this video we're going to have a weekly recap of what has happened in the market. Actually, probably a monthly recap, just because the last video I did was probably a month ago on overall market analysis. So yeah, we're just going to recap market analysis and the recent moves and the top opportunities for the second half of 2025. So as usual, we'll always get started with the indices, right? So let's take a look at SPY. SPY has been forming a really nice flag here ever since the gap up, and it has been consolidating really well. This one got a very nice bounce off the lows, really nice increase in volume off that bottom candle, right? So really good action overall, and yeah, really can't say anything bad about the current market action. This is very strong, and we have room back up to like that 610 level again. So overall, leading very bullish on SPY. And let's take a look at QQQ. So the Qs have also been acting really strong as well, right? Very similar to SPY, a little bit stronger actually. So tech names have been acting a little bit weaker, or I mean a little bit stronger compared to pretty much everything else. So tech is where money is flowing to, especially the big cap tech names, right? And yeah, QQQ also had a very nice recovery, very nice volume on that bottom candle, and currently forming a flag. So overall, both the indices looking really good, looking healthy. IWM slightly on the weaker side. This one's always slightly on the weaker side though, right? This one's always lagging compared to SPY QQQ. But yeah, key resistance will be around that 209 level. And then ARKK, I always like to take a look at this one because when this ETF is breaking out, so for example, last time it broke out, we formed a nice base, and then in 2020 we had a huge breakout, right? And from the lows, it went from 33 to 159. That's a 5x move almost, right? So yeah, when this thing breaks out, you're going to have a lot of momentum in growth names like Shopify, Square, Roku, those type of names, right? So they will get big breakouts. So right now this one looks like it's currently also consolidating, just forming a flag here. So yeah, if this breaks out, then we can see a move back up to 64. And then if we break out from there, we could see a big move, big momentum potentially, right? So this is one that I always like to keep an eye on. Let's take a look at some of the big cap names, like Google, right? So Google also getting decent bounce off the lows. Key resistance will be around that 174.5. Apple, so Apple is slightly on the weaker side. This one did get a nice bounce off the lows, but hasn't been getting too much momentum and has kind of been chopping around. So key resistance 207 and then key support 192. Meta, this one has been acting really strong, and it has been since last year as well. This one, yeah, got a nice bounce and forming a nice flag here. So Meta, I do like this one. Yeah, this one is one of the stronger ones for sure. Netflix, this is the strongest one for sure. This one is making new all-time highs way before any of the other big caps, or the other big caps aren't even close to making new all-time highs. Maybe besides Meta, but this one it made new all-time highs back in, yeah, like April. So yeah, this one's definitely very strong, and yeah, this is definitely the market leader right now in terms of big tech names. Microsoft also, this one is also acting very strong, right? This one's close to making new all-time highs, but not yet. Yeah, Meta and Microsoft probably the two strongest ones besides Netflix. Yeah, and then we also have Nvidia, right? So Nvidia had a good earnings report, but it got sold into. Overall, Nvidia still looks really good to me, right? This one got a nice bounce off the lows, went from 88 to like 140, right? 142. So that's a really strong move for a big cap name like Nvidia. But yeah, I think this one, there's a good chance that it will continue to slow grind up back to that 150 level. Yeah, overall, very bullish on Nvidia. And the strongest semiconductor, Broadcom. I think this one looks even better than Nvidia, and I think this is the current semiconductor leader in the market. This is the strongest semiconductor name out there. And this one has just been on a tear and very strong uptrend. So this is definitely my favorite semiconductor name right now. AMD is still lagging. It did get a nice bounce off the lows, and it is forming a flag. but it is lagging compared to Nvidia and Broadcom, but still a good name to keep an eye on. Let's also take a look at Tesla. So Tesla tried to break out but failed last week, right? We formed a nice flag, we had a breakout, and then we ended up coming back in all the way last week. So this looks like a failed breakout, but overall Tesla still does look good to me. And I think if we can form another flag, clear that like 365 resistance level, I think there's a good chance that this one can make another leg back up. And I think it has potential to make a move back up to 400. So Tesla is still very, very bullish on for sure. All right, let's go over some names that are currently on my watch list, and then at the very end we'll go through the strongest names that I am keeping an eye on for the second half of 2025. But yeah, let's get started. So Uber, this is one that I really like on the weekly chart, right? It had a nice base breakout. It's pulling back in, but if it can bounce off here, then this could be a good buy the dip play. Um, let's see what I got next. TEM, this one got a big rejection, so I'm currently taking this one off my watch list. Spotify, this one looks really good. It's been consolidating for almost 5 weeks now, right? So I think this one looks really, really good for a big breakout very soon. So SEZO, Sizzle. This is one of those names that not a lot of people know about. And yeah, this one made a very, very big move. Went from 70 to 115 in like couple weeks, and it went from 11 to 115 in less than a year. So this one has huge potential, and this is actually one of those names that I think has a lot of potential for the second half of 2025, right? This is a name that has potential to double again. The strongest names always continue to go higher and higher, or at least 90% of the time, right? So if I'm betting, I would bet the stock ends up going much higher to where it is at the end of the year. SE is one that I'm keeping an eye on. This one got a very nice bounce off the lows, went from 100 to 169, right? So that's a 70% move, and it's currently consolidating really well. So yeah, that's another one you want to keep an eye on. Rubrik, recent software IPO, very strong uptrend, right? So that's definitely another one. Snowflake, this one also got a nice earnings gap up, and it's flagging nicely. So that's one worth watching. Roblox, this one, it's in a very strong uptrend. Very strong bounce off the lows, went from 50 to 87. So that's a huge move for Roblox. QBTS, I think this is the strongest quantum name out there right now. So this is definitely on high watch for me. Odd, this is another name that a lot of people haven't heard of, but this one got a very strong breakout a couple weeks ago, right? It went from 45 to 75. That's a pretty big move for this one, and it's also a recent IPO, so worth keeping an eye on. Net, this one got a pretty nice bounce off the lows as well. It went from 90 to 165, so a lot of strength from this one, and this is definitely one you want to keep an eye on. Let's see what else I got. MELI. This one is an international name, but it's acting very strong, forming a nice flag here. So this looks really good to me, to be honest. And this could be a nice breakout play for next week. Let's see what else I got. GEV. This is one of the strongest IPO names we have gotten in a long time, right? Besides CoreWeave. This one already 4x from IPO, so very strong action. And yeah, this one just continues to grind up higher and higher every single day. Let's see what else I got. Oh yeah, another one would be Carvana. So this is another name that is going to be on my top list for second half of 2025. But this one again, very strong bounce. It went from 150 to 327. So this 2x from the lows. CoreWeave, again, this one's obvious, right? Everyone's talking about this one. Went from 33 to 130 in like a month. So very impressive move. CrowdStrike, this one's forming a nice flag. Definitely like this. Strongest cybersecurity name out there for sure. Costco got a very nice breakout last Friday. Big increase in volume. Lots to like there. Chewy, this one similar to Roblox. It had a very nice rally. It went from 30 to 45, so that's a 50% move off the lows. Bros, this is another recent IPO. It IPO'd in 2023, so not that recent, but yeah, this one's been on a pretty steady uptrend, and if it clears the 75 level, I think this one has a lot of potential to go higher. But yeah, so those are some of the names that I have on my watch list for next week. But now let's go over the names that I'm keeping a very close eye on for the second half of 2025. The first one being HIMS, right? This one got a very strong bounce off the lows, went from 25 to 65, and yeah, it's forming a flag here and it's breaking out. So this is definitely one you want to keep an eye on. Huge volume increase the last couple of weeks. Palantir, this is obvious, the strongest software name. This is a true market leader. Huge breakout on Friday. Nice increase in volume. This is definitely one you have to keep an eye on. CoreWeave, we talked about this recent IPO name. Huge breakout. Huge volume. This is definitely one you have to keep an eye on. Root, this is a name that not a lot of people know, and it's kind of a lot of people are skeptical on this name because of the fundamentals. But to be honest, if the price action is supporting a strong trend, right, that's all that really matters to me. If there's opportunity to make money on this, then that's all that I care about, right? I just want to make sure I have a tight stop. And yeah, if this one runs, even if it has bad fundamentals, that's okay with me as long as I'm making money, right? So, but yeah, this one, it's consolidating very nicely and it looks ready for a big breakout. Again, this one went from $7 to 181. Hood, this is probably one of my favorite long-term plays, right? Very nice bounce off the lows, went from 30 to 67, and it looks good for a big breakout here, consolidating nicely. Next up, Odd. This is one we talked about, but huge breakout, recent IPO name, nice increase in volume, lots of things to like here. Carvana, this one went from $3 to 327, and it still has so much momentum in it. So this is a name that you definitely want to keep an eye on. Yeah, not a lot of people talk about this one, but yeah, this one is insanely strong. Duolingo, this is another recent, or not recent, 2021 IPO that's just been on a steady uptrend and it's forming a nice flag now. So this is one that I think has a lot of potential as well. Net, we talked about this very strong bounce off the lows and it's been acting really well in 2025. So this is another one that I like and I think it has potential to get back to 2020 highs or 2021 highs, which would be around that 221 level. Oklo, very strong energy name, right? This one had a huge breakout, went from 25 to 55 in like 2 weeks. So yeah, this one has tons of momentum behind it, huge volume, everything that I like. SC, we talked about this one as well, right? Very nice bounce off the lows, 100 to 170, right? And it's consolidating very nicely. I think this has a lot of potential as well, right? It topped out around like 375 back in 2021, so this one still has a lot of potential. This could be an easy double, to be honest. Sizzle, yeah, this one had a nice breakout as well off the lows. We talked about this, right? It was under, it was like a penny stock in 2024. So yeah, this one has huge potential and it's just getting started. And then another one that not a lot of people don't know is Dave. This one again, it was under $10 back in 2024 and now it's 200. So huge potential. And yeah, if you notice a common theme between all the stocks are that all of these stocks are very strong, right? I'm focusing on the strongest momentum names. And the reason is the strongest names always continue to go higher, or at least that's what history has shown, right? For example, Apple. If you can catch Apple back in like even 2010 before it made its big run in the 2000s, right? Apple would have made you tons and tons of money, right? So that's basically what I'm trying to catch. Palantir made a huge breakout, but this could still be in its early stages if you look at it 10 years from now. So everything I'm looking at has huge gains already, but I'm expecting, or I think it is possible that these names could go much higher a couple years down the road. So again, this is not financial advice, right? And this is only for educational purposes. make sure that you do your own due diligence before you take any trades, obviously, right? But yeah, I hope this was helpful. Thank you guys for tuning in.